A suspect in a double murder case in Manatee County now behind bars in Colorado. What we know about his criminal history.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 6.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis.
And I'm Jacqueline Matter. Thanks for joining us. Our top story this hour, a Bradenton teen behind bars halfway across the country, awaiting his return to the Suncoast.
Joe Clerjus turned himself into police in Denver yesterday and is charged with the murder of his close friend and another man. ABC 7's Erica Jackson joins us live from the Manatee County Sheriff's Office tonight with more information on the suspect's detailed criminal history. Erica.
Scott, Jacqueline, good evening. Law enforcement officers have been familiar with Joe Clerjus since February. That's when law enforcement officers, specifically the Bradenton Police Department, learned of this Snapchat video threatening Manatee High School, leading to his first arrest of the year. A Snapchat video, a gun, and Manatee High School. This video led to Joe Clerjus' first arrest of 2018. He's been arrested 2 more times since.
Unfortunately, we see that all too often, where juveniles are committing crimes and they're right back on the street.
Bradenton police say 17-year-old Clerjus was arrested and charged with possession of a firearm and driving without a license after sharing this video on Snapchat threatening Manatee High School, just days after the deadly Parkland shooting. Clerjus' most recent charge is much more serious. 2 counts of murder for the deaths of Caleb Bowman and Kamundry Pittman, both 18 years old. Investigators thought he was in the area until he turned himself into the Denver Police Department Thursday afternoon.
We didn't feel that he had the means to leave the area. We kept pretty close tabs on his friends, his family. Really close tabs.
The Manatee County Sheriff's Office says it had its first encounter with Clerjus in May when he was arrested for burglary with battery while trying to defend a friend.
He goes over to the person that allegedly beat this other person up and just barged into his residence and beat him up.
Deputies say Bowman was with Clerjus during the burglary, but he was not charged. Now, Clerjus is waiting for the Department of Juvenile Justice to transport him back to Florida, where he could be charged as an adult for the death of his close friend and another Bradenton teen. Now, we spoke to Clerjus' mother on Sunday, just hours after that fatal shooting. We asked her if she thought her son was involved, and she replied simply, "I don't know." We also reached out to her last night and today, but have yet to receive a response. Reporting live in Manatee County, Erica Jackson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Erica, thank you. A 60-year-old Sarasota man is behind bars charged with possession of child pornography. Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies say Edward Pateja was possibly downloading the porn. They say they found several CDs and DVDs with images of child porn on them in his home, which is less than 3 blocks away from Tuttle Elementary School. Pateja is in the Sarasota County Jail now, facing 10 felony counts.
A Manatee County gymnastics coach has resigned after he was investigated for having inappropriate contact with some child athletes. The coach worked for South Florida Gymnasium, which conducted the investigation. The gym sent an email to parents today saying that the coach resigned rather than be suspended after breaking a policy that bans coaches from being friends with athletes on social media. That policy also states that all communication with the athletes must include parents. The gym has scheduled a parents' meeting for Monday at 6:30 to address their concerns.
Sarasota County overseeing a prescribed burn earlier today. Brush and overgrowth was burned on Anger Creek Trail off Winchester Boulevard in South Sarasota County. Officials say the 9-acre burn will prevent wildfires in the future.
Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for a look at our first alert forecast. And Bob, not too dry, but lightning possibly a problem for this weekend, right?
Yes, that's the big key right there, Jack. And we are going to look at the lightning coming back full force. You'll see that in a minute. 88 degrees right now. The heat index 100. It's going to be 100 to 105 each and every afternoon, too, unless we get some nice cooling storms in the afternoon. And that is a possibility, especially inland areas. But a different scenario setting up already. High pressure to the east of the state. This is where it normally is. There's still that persistent trough, though, over the eastern third of the nation that is kind of disrupting the flow and has been as of late. But high pressure is going to eventually win and build in over the top of us and then move to the north to give us that east to southeasterly wind. But we've only had a few lightning strikes over the past week and a half because of that westerly wind. These storms come in, they don't have a lot of convergence to really develop into the upper reaches of the atmosphere. They do now. We have an east breeze. We have some outflow boundaries coming off from the east to the west. We have the west coast breeze. And notice the intense lightning that is taking place. Now, this isn't the one or two that we saw with a few cells this week, but boy, it has been explosive at times. Just 575 volts in the last 10 minutes there in that area of the rectangle, and you can see more on the way. And notice how these storms are starting to spread off to the west a little bit too into Hardee and DeSoto counties. That's the outflow from those. So slowly but surely we're getting back to normal afternoon storms. Well, more on that coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you so much. Hundreds of dead sea turtles are washing ashore on Suncoast beaches. Scientists are almost certain that red tide is the killer. ABC 7's Jess Dowdrick is on Manasota Key tonight with this story.
If you take a stroll down any Suncoast beach that has seen the wrath of red tide, like right here on Manasota Key Beach, you're likely to find a dead fish or two. But lately, dead sea turtles have also been washing ashore, sometimes 5 to 10 a day.
We normally see dead turtles. They can be any time of the year, but not like this.
Carol Leonard walks Manasota Key Beach 3 mornings a week as part of the Coastal Wildlife Club's Turtle Watch. She's found at least 4 dead sea turtles since April.
She was a beautiful adult female. She looked like she was just resting in the surf, but she was dead. And that's a tragedy when we get those big adults. They've spent 30 more years surviving all the hazards, and they make it back to nest, and they hit a red tide bloom and they die.
Turtle Watch groups across the Suncoast are seeing the same trends. Mote Marine reporting that 112 sea turtles have been recovered since January.
Our annual average is 100 total, so being in July and we're already eclipsing our annual average, it's a little alarming and a lot of work.
When Turtle Watch groups find these dead sea turtles, they report them to Mote, where scientists will run tests to learn what happened and test for red tide.
We've collected samples to test for that. We have not sent those samples out yet, but given time and space and the fact that we're not having any other findings on these animals for the most part, we're very suspicious, almost can confirm red tide.
Since July 15th, 28 sea turtles have been recovered. 3 of them were alive, but suffering from red tide symptoms.
Sea turtles, they actually get it through their food, so what they're going out and foraging for, and then it acts like a neurotoxin. So if they're alive, they're going to be very disoriented. Sometimes they have little seizures. They can be very uncoordinated in the water.
Mote rehabilitates the sick turtles that they are lucky enough to find alive. One was released back into the Gulf just Friday morning. Like the sea turtles, manatees are also dying from red tide. That's not happening as frequently here on the Suncoast as it is a little further south in Lee and Collier counties. On Manasota Key, Jess Dowdrick, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Jess, thank you. A no swim advisory has been issued for Palmasola South. That's located at 81st Street West in Bradenton on the south side of the causeway. Health officials say the advisory comes in response to a high level of bacteria found in the water in that area, which may pose a health risk to swimmers. Other beaches located in Manatee County, however, are not under an advisory.
U.S. Senator Bill Nelson is calling out Governor Rick Scott, his opponent in the upcoming election, for signing a new state law on privately owned beaches. Nelson visiting the Florida Panhandle to blast the law that voided Walton County's ordinance that allowed the public to use otherwise privately owned beaches. Nelson walked to a no trespassing sign gate outside of a gated beachfront community Friday and demanded Scott call a special legislative session to repeal the law. That new law did not privatize any of Florida's public beaches, but created confusion about which beaches the public can use. Still to come in your Suncoast News, Bob's weather forecast for the upcoming weekend will let you know when you can head out to the beach.
And the store that's helping local kids in the foster care system. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Pets bring so much joy to our lives. They're loyal, they're protective, and smart. Yet as smart as our pets might be, they can't advocate for themselves, especially in the event of a natural disaster. During Hurricane Harvey, many families were separated from their pets. That's why it's important your pet is part of your family's disaster preparedness plan. Talk to your veterinarian and visit banfieldfoundation.org/disaster. Don't save it for a rainy day.
Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru vehicles hold their value better than any other brand for 2018, according to ALG. And Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Forester is an IIHS top safety pick for 12 years running. And right now, you can lease a new Subaru Forester for just $229 a month. Or get 0% financing with 0 down. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
The Florida primaries are right around the corner, so make sure you register to vote if you haven't already. The August 28th ballot will include partisan primary races for the U.S. Senate, governor, 2 state cabinet seats, along with several congressional and legislative races. New Florida voters and those who wish to switch their political party affiliation must make changes by Monday for the update to take effect in time for the primary election. Address changes for those already registered in Florida can be handled up to the day of the election. Statewide voter turnout during the 2016 primary election was just 24%.
We have had quite a bit of new registrations for the last month and a half, which was, I won't say surprising, but maybe the level is a little bit unprecedented.
To sign up to vote or update your existing registration, visit the website to register to voteflorida.gov.
Looking ahead to the weekend, you can stock up on sandbags in Manatee County, up to 10 per household, to be ready for any potential flooding we might see. You can pick up those sandbags tomorrow from 8 in the morning until noon at the county's new transit facility that's on Televast Road, or on August 18th at the Bradenton Area Convention Center in Palmetto. And they do it quickly now because they have these machines that fill them up.
They can, if I remember correctly, fill nearly 700 in an hour, if I remember correctly.
That's pretty good too, and it's a machine. You know, hopefully we don't need them.
Right.
We talked about that earlier, but it's always good to have them on standby because we are heading in to the peak of hurricane season. Although I got an interesting graphic to show you here. We are looking at right now the Lakewood Ranch webcam showing a beautiful day out there. Lots of blue skies, not many clouds around. Little different scenarios setting up. It was hot. Heat index at 100 to 105 degrees in places today. Still remains hot too. There's not a lot of cooling storms storms here, but there are some big ones in the interior portions of our viewing area. Westerly flow is changing around. We're going to see a little bit more east to southeasterly wind over the upcoming days, and that will allow for those afternoon and evening thunderstorms to come back into the mix. And it looks like that will stick around too through all of next week. So we're going to go into a normal summer pattern, something that hasn't been too normal. And this is not normal to see this red tide. Still, this is the latest report from today. Just came out around 4 o'clock. And you can see the high concentrations just north of Venice, medium concentrations there, but high, and a little bit more high concentrations reported from Venice southward. The scientist who is a volunteer for Moat at one point had 2 million cells per liter at Venice. And here are some of the places that you see right here. This is, again, looking at the map, there is the airport of Venice Airport. And then just to the north there, we have some moderate levels being reported. And then we have some higher concentrations in South Venice, all the way down. It becomes a little spottier down there, but near Minnesota Key and stretching south toward Inglewood. Right now, the big storms are stretching across the central portion of the state associated with the sea breeze interaction of the east coast and the west coast breezes. A little bit farther away than we'd like to see, because we like to see them a little closer to bring us a little bit more cooling storms. These are a long way to go to make it all the way to the coast, but there could be some outflow boundaries from these cells right here that could generate a few isolated cells later on tonight. You can see here's another one that just came out, and that's a pretty big one. So we'll watch that march off toward the west, and then behind it you'll see these storms firing up like this one did. And then that'll happen in about 2 hours here, I think, in East Sarasota and Manatee counties. As far as the rest of the area goes, we have a little frontal boundary hanging out over the southeast United States. And there's been a little bit of dry air in place. That's going to change too over the upcoming days. More moisture content coming in on that southeasterly wind. The forecast model showing that front fading away, high pressure building, and a little bit more south to southeasterly wind flow favors inland storms, and then a few making their way toward the coast later on in the day. That continues on Sunday. So most of the morning should be okay. We'll look for scattered showers and storms in the afternoon and evening. The day planner for Saturday does call for that. Temperatures will be in the mid-70s, but the afternoon storms around. The main development region, again, we'll go back to that if the computer wants to cooperate. It's having some issues. It's Friday, folks. This is cool water here in the Atlantic. Second coldest on record. That was last week. Now it is the coldest on record in the main development region in the Atlantic, and that's good news. That means fewer major hurricanes, but the Gulf of Mexico is still primed with temperatures all in the 90s across much of the Gulf. Southeast winds turn to the northwest at 5 knots, mostly smooth out there. And as far as the 7-day forecast goes, smooth sailing in the morning, just afternoon and evening storms over the next 7 days, high temperatures in the low 90s. Back to you.
Bob, thank you. There's a clothing store in Venice that's so exclusive, it only opens twice a month and by appointment.
ABC 7's Rebecca Fernandez joins us now to explain how this is a special place for many children in our community. Rebecca?
Jacqueline, Scott, Sarasota and Manatee counties lead the state in the number of children that are in foster care. But one Suncoast family opened this store to make sure all children are never without. The Twig, which stands for the Way to Inspire and Give, is a clothing boutique where foster children can shop for free.
Our founders, Diane and Lloyd Weed, adopted their youngest daughter out of the foster care system when she was a baby. And when she was a senior in high school, they started to think, what would her life be like if she was still in foster care?
Many of these children get into the system with very few things to call their own.
You know, when people take you in, especially in our situation, it was, last minute, but they don't really expect all the financial hardships that come with it.
That's why every other Saturday, the Twig opens its doors to Suncoast foster children who get to take home 10 items of their choice completely free. The store has grown from having 8 foster children the first time they opened to now having more than 150 kids come shop each time.
All this horrible crap going on, and then you just come here and all these people are nice and warm-hearted and really just want to help you. It helps out.
From newborns to teenagers, the Twig has helped more than 1,000 foster children throughout the 2 years it's been open. And not just by providing them material things.
When they come in here, they're just encouraged, they're loved, they're told they're important, and then they're given these items that they desperately need as well as want. So they leave feeling really good about themselves, and they're just so thankful. They give us giant hugs and huge smiles on their faces.
They also get to leave their own mark at the store by having their names hand-painted on the wall. The store is a nonprofit run entirely by volunteers.
Really happy. I give it to all those kids who need it.
They accept monetary donations and clothing donations from the community.
Able to teach them to be God's hands and feet. That's amazing to be able to walk into a store like this and understand that every child, every person deserves dignity, and to be able to just bring light to the world. It's amazing to be able to do that with them.
The Twig will be opening its doors tomorrow, so they'll need the community's help to refill that clothing rack, and to donate, you can find all the information on our website. Live in Venice, Rebecca Fernandez, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Rebecca, thank you. Parents, listen up. Starting tomorrow, you can get free school supplies for your kids at the Dollar Dynasty headquarters, located on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Way in Sarasota. You can go there from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon and pick up school supplies for kids in grades K through 12. They'll be doing this every Saturday moving forward.
Just 2 weeks, right?
Till school starts. I can't believe it. It feels like it was just yesterday that it ended.
Stay with us.
When we come back, we'll show you a sneak peek of the new art installation in downtown Sarasota.
Tonight, trade war showdown. Can America's farmers and factory workers be convinced they'll come out on top? Plus, the heat wave in the West fueling out-of-control wildfires. World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Did you know that a dirty CPAP system can make you sick? If you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose, it would keep you up at night. Now SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. With its patented design, SoClean is fast, effective, and hands-free, killing 99.9% of all CPAP germs. Try SoClean now through this special TV offer free for 30 days. Just call 800-604-0398.
My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean works on all CPAP machines and popular masks, destroying CPAP bacteria, viruses, and germs without the daily hassle of washing your system by hand. Just place your mask in, close the lid, and in just minutes, voila! Sanitized and ready to use. Try SoClean risk-free for 30 days. This is a limited time offer. Call now, 800-604-0398. Or visit SoClean.com today.
According to Golf Digest, 2 of the nation's top golf resorts are on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, the Auburn Opelika Marriott at Grand National, and the Renaissance Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa in Birmingham. Plus, the Marriott at Grand National was recognized as Hotel of the Year by Marriott International. Experience luxury and world-class golf Southern style. Visit rtjgolf/resorts or call 800-949-4444 to book your trip to the trail.
Mascara adds depth to the eyes. Lipstick gives the mouth color and definition. And ALS paralyzes the body.
You look great, Mom.
Thank you. Slowly taking away the ability to move and eventually breathe.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Dr. Ed James II was a visionary. He brought important issues to the forefront on Black Almanac, and ABC7 will honor his legacy and continue to advance his mission. Tune into all new episodes of Black Almanac, Sunday mornings at 7:30 on ABC7.
As crews install a new public art sculpture, a portion of a popular roundabout will be closed this weekend. The northeast section of the Orange Avenue and Railing Boulevard roundabout in downtown Sarasota will close Sunday between 7 and 5. That road will reopen as soon as that installation is completed. Now here's a rendering of what it will all look like. It was created by Sarasota artist Jorge Blanco. City Commission approved the piece titled Bravo for $150,000. So more artwork for our area roundabouts.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting sometimes if you're walking through downtown Sarasota, you can kind of see the different art sculptures and the history behind them.
You can appreciate them a little more than when you're driving through.
Yeah, even in the parking lot. In the parking lots, they got some beautiful art there as well. And Braden doing the same thing. They're really building up here and really changing for the better, it looks like.
World News Tonight with David Muir is next.
We'll see you again at 7 and 11. Have a good weekend.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Monday at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Webb. The deadline is here to get registered to vote in the August primaries. We'll tell you how to make sure your voice gets heard this election season. That's Monday on Good Morning Suncoast. Josh?
And all last week we had that southwesterly flow, but now it looks like we're going to have a change, and the southeasterly winds will kick in to bring us more of a typical summertime pattern for us.
Monday at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us fly! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Without the letters A, B, and O, there's no mom. No dad. There's no Brittany. Because A's, B's, and O's determine your blood type. And we're missing all of them. That's why the American Red Cross needs people like you to help fill the gaps. Schedule your donation at redcrossblood.org.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason.
because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.